all I know is what the state of Pennsylvania. So I don't. I mean, let's
Let
say.
me just show you this. He's already seen it. I'm going to show you this.
With the traffic citation.
This is another stop.
Okay. Are you okay?
This is November 7th to 17th.
Okay.
This guy shoots the police in Pennsylvania. This is in Pennsylvania. PSP. See how that is?
Place your hands behind your back.
Right? And I'm going to stop it. You can type Daniel Cleary if you want to see the rest of it. That's November 7th, 2017. You see that going down. Alright. So I'll get rid of that. Right. So I will go here. Close. This is your discovery document.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Page 5461.
Yeah. Okay.
You subtract these times, it'll be 8 minutes. Notice how the dispatch and en route are the same. You can't be en route and dispatch all at the same time.
Well, I don't know that. I mean,
Well, that's
we
just
could ask.
right.
But yeah.
That's 8 minutes.
All right.
So now, and then you're welcome to go review that further.
Let me make a note. All right. So you want me to look at? What are you doing?
Well, you can take a screenshot with your phone.
That's right. I got it. I got it on my end.
Okay.
Yeah. 50s, I need 54, 61. And you're concerned about the time of dispatch?
Right.
And tell me again why you think that's material?
Well, because it's missing 4 minutes. If you subtract 10:39
From,
or 10:47 minus 10:39, that's 8 minutes.
all right.
Alright. So
Okay,
now,
let me see that document one more time. Are there different officers involved in that?
yes.
So could there be a dispatch more than one? Because I know there more than one car came. One came later.
Right. One came later. That's
So
what we're from.
I talked to Trooper Petrov. He was the
Right.
first one, right?
Right.
And then after Trooper Petrov makes the stop, then this other guy,
Peacock comes.
Trooper Peacock, comes
Right.
in.
He comes at 10:39.
Okay.
Get right there over next to 10:39.
Right. So I think I have Petrov's videos, but there might
Right.
be more than one. I don't know.
Maybe.
All right. So I'll ask if there's other dash cam.
And conversation with Peacock.
Were they wearing body cams in
No,
Pennsylvania?
I don't think so. But they may. I don't know.
All right, I'll ask that. All right, so what's the upshot of this? What happened in that? And listen,
Well,
this is non-attribution, right? Okay. All right.
I'm just showing you that.
Well, what happened in the 4 minutes that you think
Well-
is material?
He tells me you're not going to get a fair trial.
In Pennsylvania.
Right. The judges are not going to believe shit you say. I mean, there's some real man banter going on.
Okay.
And I'm like, yo, I don't have any guns. Let me just show you where the drugs are. I don't have any drugs. They only charge me with paraphernalia.
Okay.
But by the time you watch this, it's the same video that they gave me. But you know, there's not any footage on it.
All right.
You know?
Well, let me tell
But
you.
hold on. When you play this, from the time he stops me, see, I'm using my turn signal.
Yeah.
You know, he could say he started back. But I'm using my turn signal. He smells so much weed that I don't get any type of, what they call it.
We are smoking on a line.
No, I'm being pulled over, so I'm slowing down. But from this point, by the time it stops, I probably get stopped. You know, by the time it gets out of the car, you can start your stopwatch. And then it started from the time that you see the other trooper come up. It comes up 12 minutes. So there's 4 minutes.
All right. Let me say this. You had a trial in Pennsylvania, right?
They did not let me play this video because they knew.
All right. Anyway, you had a trial in Pennsylvania.
Right.
So let us say this is true. Petrov comes and says, you're not going to get a fair trial. What else did Petrov thinks this is illegal stuff. I mean, that's his opinion, right? What did he do that would have impaired your rights? Did he give you a rights advisement? Because I don't know if we're going to use any statement, right?
No.
Okay. But you didn't make a statement. I think you wrote out a one-page handwritten deal. Did you get a rights advisement before that?
No.
Okay. Well, you can move to
And
suppress
then
that.
he didn't say, as far as the audio and video stuff being recorded, he didn't actually say that, but he says it in the video. But at the time on the stop, he didn't say it. And another thing is, if you just listen to the dogs bark, the dogs are going crazy. And all of a sudden, the dog just silence. Like you gave him another treat.
So I'm not going to tell Hawkins business, but here's the thing as a prosecutor that I would be concerned about. If something happened in this that would be tainted the,
He took the money. He tried to take the money.
but the money he disclosed the money. I mean, you think the money's missing or something?
Yeah, the money is missing.
What do you mean it's missing? Like how much of it's missing?
That's a lot. Like, I would say a good another $50,000 or $60,000.
So there's $100,000.
Right. And you can see when he writes it on the paper, he's writing 50 down. He's saying, "Oh, because I only say 50,000 because I don't pull that amount of money out all the time." You know.
Well,
I don't know the
your
exact
business, but
amount.
here's the deal.
Right.
In our case, the more money that you took out of those credit cards, the better our case is. So if you want to bring
But
that,
no, I didn't get that money from the credit cards. I found that in a rental car a couple months back.
you found $100,000 in a rental car.
Not 100,000 exactly. I know it's unbelievable. Why don't you report it to the police?
Well, that's the first I've heard of it.
Everyone says that. I'm like, well, why didn't you give it to a church? But again,
I'll ask about the 4 minutes. I mean,
Right.
I'll ask if why there's a discrepancy between those times. I talked to Petrov on the phone. I never met him. Honestly, I've been doing this for 30 years. I mean, I don't have anything against you personally.
Right.
I mean, all I know is what's in it at night, right?
Right.
And I've given you everything I have.
Right.
I don't get any extra money or points for, putting people in jail. And quite frankly, I would rather get this over with,
Right.
as I'm sure you would too.
Right.
So if this is a problem, why don't you give me a week or two? I probably can't do anything until after the holiday. I'll get with the Secret Service agent. I'll get a hold of Petrov and Peacock.
And Sergeant, Secret Agent Pope.
Special Agent Pope.
Yeah. She's probably with the ATF now. Another thing, there's no chain of custody document.
Okay, well, that's certainly something
Have
you
you
can
noticed
change
that?
on. I haven't put the evidence together, so what I
Okay.
would have is what's there. But if, yeah, I mean,
Write it down too. There's no chain of custody document. So you can't, there's no actual verification of the cash that you guys got.
well, I know it was counted by the Secret Service several times, and they have documentation of that
And you know what?
at various times. Now, it may not have been at the point of the stop. I mean, they weren't there.
I'm going to show you this. Where is it? Photos. See if I got it on. You guys wrote 65,000 in currency.
Yeah?
$65,319.
Listen, I wrote that letter. It's here's the thing.
I'm just saying.
Right.
I didn't know you wrote it, so it's.
Yeah, I wrote that letter, and in my mind, if we're going to argue over $319, then we can argue about that. But first of all, that letter was to put you on notice. Okay.
That says 55.
It also says approximate. So I don't know. You can argue about
It's an
approximate.
even, right? It's an even $10,000.
All right.
How do you come? How do you come to an even amount? I can see
Mr.
it
Pitts,
was,
here's the deal. I'm not here to argue about the evidence.
Right.
I will look into this.
Okay. That's all I asked.
And I'll report back to your lawyer.
Okay.
But I would, like the judge said, and maybe like, I don't know what you've talked to Hawken about, but, this is important only to the extent that the money comes into evidence. If you go to a trial, you have a right to challenge the chain of custody and the relevance of that evidence, and your lawyer would ask questions of Peacock. That's how it works. I call Peacock, I offer the money, he cross-examines them, and then the judge decides whether it's admissible. If there's a dispute over like $319 or whatever, then he's going to say that goes to the weight of the evidence, not its admissibility. And at the end of the day, it's going to be up to the jury to decide whether or not that is a material thing, and they might agree with you and acquit you based on that. But
make sure you talk to Petra.
Right, I will talk to Petra. But here's the thing: this really, in the large scheme of things, is important only to the extent that this is how we learned about the case. Okay. Once we're past that, it's all about the paper. It's about the pattern, and it's about the way that the money was taken out, and what you did with it, and how you changed it to gift cards and all that. I would encourage you, while I'm looking into this, to give Hawken the benefit of the doubt and talk about the rest of the documentary evidence. I mean, I pretty much have given him whatever I had. I gave him basically our grand jury presentation. I mean, I put it on slides. I laid out it all. If there's something wrong with that, then you have a right to attack that. If I've got the wrong idea about how that worked out, what the intent was, all that, that's what a trial is for. Okay? So, but getting fixated on like this one small piece and ignoring everything else is not going to help you out. So if we can get over this hump, I will look into this. But I'm not going to promise you that I'm going to find out anything different. This was a couple of years ago. They're going to maybe say to me, you got what we have. Okay? And then if it comes in, you can point all these discrepancies out to the jury. If it makes a difference, it makes a difference. I think in the end they're going to say, you didn't have a job and you got, $200,000 worth of credit cards and you lied about how much money you made. So I think that's what it's about. But that's me. And I don't want you to say anything about that. I mean, I'm not trying to hurt your feelings.
The thing is, you presented the
Right.
evidence of me being a lab rat, right?
Right.
So I did have a job.
Right. But you didn't make it.
And it's very important now due to COVID.
Right.
So back when you were putting it together, the lab rat theory wasn't believable because no one thinks you can make politics.
That was never the issue. I never doubted that that's what you did.
And it's actually a clinical study participant instead of a lab rat.
Right. And that's what you used that word. So listen,
No, in the slide it says lab rat.
that's what you said. We asked you.
Oh.
When
Oh,
agent,
okay. Okay.
when the agent asked you, you said, I'm a lab. So those are your words.
I think it's Chicago, right?
No, this is when you were in when you were interviewed by Special Agent Lawrence and another agent, I can't remember her name,
Okay.
in Charlotte.
Okay.
We turned over the video of the interview.
We had it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had it too.
Yeah, so that's that.
Okay.
So,
Well,
by
yeah,
the way, this discovery that you have on is governed by certain court rules.
Okay.
Be very careful with that, because if there's evidence of other names, there's things in there, there's privacy interests in that, and you mishandle that, you're going to be in contempt of the court's order. So be careful what you do with that stuff. Okay? All right?
Thank you for taking a look at it.
Yeah, and meanwhile, if you have something else, either of you, that comes up like this, give me a call. I mean, writing a bunch of letters to the court is just going to piss them off. And if we can work these things out, or you want me to look at something, I'm not perfect. I might have forgotten something in the discovery. I've got a gazillion cases, just like Hawken does. So tell Hawken will call me, and he'll say, go look for this, and I'll go look for it. All right? So let's see if you got questions. Let's do that.
Okay.
Meanwhile, I'm going to start subpoenaing witnesses. And I think you want to get this over with. Let's keep this trial date. It's really a pain in the neck.
Why are we doing it on the 19th? Why not the 25th of February?
Because I'm not the judge. I'm not the judge. The judge has different terms. There are 4 judges here, and there's a limited number of courtrooms. So until our new courtroom's open, judges have a certain period of time where they have cases on their docket that they're going to call. We called the judge and said, give us a date certain for this. And the judge said, well, I'm not going to do that because he doesn't know what the schedule's like. But I'm going to tell you that we're going to have court on this day. And if you're not the first case, you'll be the second case. And we're going to pick a jury that day and then start evidence shortly thereafter.
So the court date could be on the 20th.
Yeah, I mean, it's not exactly that day, but that's the day the case is called. And then the judge will set certain dates for testimony and that'll start. Well, once it starts, I think probably, what do you think, 2 days? Maybe 2 days, yeah. And if we can stipulate to certain things, like, the records are authentic or this or that, there's ways that we can speed up the trial if we can agree on things that we don't disagree about ahead of time. So that's what I'm interested in, I think you deserve a fair trial. If you win, God bless you, Like I say, to my kids, I used to say, in my business, somebody's always happy. If I win, I'm usually happy, but if you win, you're going to be happy, right? So that's the way it
I don't
goes.
be happy. It's definitely a learning experience.
Well, I know. I think yeah. But and it would have been a long time ago. It took us a long time to find you. I mean, you were readily there. But I got to say, in my mind, we played a little bit of cat and mouse here about getting you in to begin with. Otherwise, we would have done this a year ago. So, but while we're here, that's beside the point. Let's just, I've worked with Hawken before. He represents his clients. Just because we're cordial in the courtroom doesn't mean he's not going to rip my throat out when we get to trial. So, there you go. But
yeah, make sure you ask about those 4 minutes.
let's get past the 4 minutes because I'll ask about it because it's important to you.
No, it ought to be important to everybody. Those 4 minutes matter.
Dude, it's not.
George Floyd, didn't he die? 8 minutes?
Dude,
Am I
it's
gonna
what
have to
happened after this. You're not framing it right. So if this guy told you that everything you said right now is true, it still wouldn't result in the suppression of this evidence. Just because he says to you, you're not going to get a fair trial, he can have whatever opinion he wants in his life, right? But if you did get a trial, and it did happen, and he didn't violate your rights other than hurt your feelings, then there's no basis for a suppression. But that's up to Hawken to bring that or not. So, but he's got to, at the end of the day, he has to put that on a piece of paper and give it to a court, and his name is on it. So it has to have some kind of basis of fact behind it. So I will ask about the 4 minutes, but I got to tell you, even if we took everything you said as absolutely true, I don't think it would make a difference. Okay? I mean, he might have treated you badly. He might have called you names. He could have used racial slurs. He could have done any of that, right?
Exactly.
Right. But that doesn't mean that the evidence is suppressed. It's what he did, not what he said. Right?
Well, how do you know that he didn't do it?
I'm asking you. I asked you what happened.
You got it from the Secret Service, right? The paperwork you got from the Secret Service.
Okay.
And no longer Agent Jason Pope isn't with the Secret Service anymore. And you don't have a chain of custody document, so therefore something nefarious was going on with the money.
Well,
That's what I'm saying. Officer Wayne Jenkins, USA versus Officer Wayne Jenkins. There were several people that said officers were taking money. Right?
Well, this officer...
Secret Service agent Sean Bridges. Silk Road, he was taking money from... There's history with Pennsylvania State
I will
Police.
ask them if they stole $50,000 that you claim you found in a rental car at some unspecified time.
Yeah.
I'll ask them. But if you're going to bring it, that's your defense, then I think I'd have a conversation talking about that.
My defense is officers shouldn't be cutting videos. He's not undercover.
It's a bank fraud case.
But still.
But
still. You shouldn't be doing it.
This is unproductive. Unproductive.
Well, we're just having a conversation.
Right. No, but it's an unproductive conversation. I will look into this. But keep in mind that there's another body of evidence out there. I would encourage you to focus on the charges in this case. I'm not trying you for the possession of marijuana or that money necessarily. I'm prosecuting you because you defrauded a number of banks.
Allegedly. And if you take a look at those applications, some of my name is misspelled.
I've
Right?
got a grand jury that says, I got a grand jury that voted an indictment that says it's probably
And you know why they voted that indictment? because of those money orders that you have. They're not even, there's no value to it. I did the research on that, and there's only 2 money orders that have value to it. And they actually sent me those. Do you want them?
I don't know what you're talking about.
The money orders used in the indictment that you said that are valued at $25,000. I did the research on it, like you said. I have the discovery, and I went to the MoneyGram. I typed it. They said there's no value. They sent me 2 of them that had value. Now I can give them to you.
All right. That's what that's reciprocal discovery.
Right.